Most people think being alone is a problem to be solved. They distract themselves, fill the silence with noise, and avoid spending time with themselves. But what if being alone wasn't something to escape? What if, instead of loneliness, you could feel peace, clarity, and even joy in your own company? If you've ever struggled with spending time alone, this is for you. Let's talk about 5 healthy ways to be alone without feeling lonely. Spending time alone isn't just about not having people around. It's about how you treat yourself when no one else is there. Many people feel uncomfortable in solitude, not because they're actually alone, but because they don't know how to enjoy their own presence. Here's how you can change that. Be your own guest. Think about this. If you were hosting a guest, you'd go out of your way to make them feel comfortable. You'd clean up, prepare good food, and create a welcoming space. But when you're alone, do you treat yourself with that same care? Or do you just settle for whatever is easy? Most people don't realize that the way they treat themselves when they're alone directly affects their self-worth. If you don't respect your own time and presence, how can you expect to feel good when you're by yourself? Try this. Make a meal for yourself as if you were cooking for someone special. Set the table, slow down, and actually enjoy it. Create small rituals that make your alone time feel intentional. Light a candle, play music, make your space feel inviting. Think of how you would treat a guest, then do the same for yourself. Why does this work? Because your subconscious picks up on how you treat yourself. Every time you rush through a meal, every time you throw on the first thing you see, every time you neglect yourself, your mind registers this as, I am not a priority. But imagine if you started romanticizing your own life. Instead of just eating, you plate your food nicely. Instead of just getting dressed, you wear something that makes you feel good. Instead of just killing time, you spend it doing something that makes you feel alive. And this applies to more than just food. How do you treat yourself overall? Do you talk to yourself kindly, or are you your own biggest critic? Do you let yourself rest when you need it? Or do you push yourself until you burn out? Do you allow yourself to enjoy things, or do you feel guilty for doing nothing? When you start treating your alone time with intention and respect, you stop seeing it as something to get through. It becomes something you actually enjoy. Create a space that feels good to be in. Your environment affects your mindset more than you realize. If your space is cluttered and messy, it can make your thoughts feel the same way. But when you clean and organize, even just a little, it clears mental space too. Most people don't take care of their space when they're alone because they think, no one else is going to see it, so why bother? But that's the wrong mindset. You see it. And when your space feels neglected, it reflects in your mood. Try this before you spend time alone. Do a quick reset of your space. Make your bed, clear your desk, put things where they belong. Think of cleaning as self-care, not a chore. Just like taking care of your body, taking care of your space makes you feel better. Notice how a clean environment changes your thoughts. You'll feel lighter, clearer, and more comfortable in your own presence. You ever notice how a messy room makes you feel drained? Or how a clean, well-organized space instantly makes you feel lighter? That's because your external world is a reflection of your internal state. You don't have to deep clean your entire house. But small changes make a big difference. Even just lighting a candle, opening a window, or playing calming music can make your space feel fresh and inviting. And here's a secret. The process of cleaning itself is meditative. When you wash dishes, fold clothes, or organize a shelf, your mind slows down. You focus on one simple task, and for a moment, everything feels lighter. Realize that you are never truly alone. Some people feel lonely in a crowd, while others feel deeply connected even in solitude. The difference? Perspective. The mind plays tricks when you're alone. It whispers that no one cares, that you're disconnected, that you're missing out. But look at it from a different angle. Right now, you're part of something bigger than you can imagine. You breathe the same air, as billions of others. The same sun that rises for you rises for everyone else. You are connected to everything around you, even if you can't see it. Next time you feel lonely, try this. Go outside and observe the world around you. Watch people moving, birds flying, the wind shifting through the trees. Remind yourself that solitude doesn't mean disconnection. Just because you're physically alone doesn't mean you are separated from the world. Appreciate the beauty of existing as part of something greater. The feeling of connection is always available. You just have to notice it. Make peace with your thoughts. Most people distract themselves because they are afraid to be alone with their thoughts. But running from your mind only makes it louder. Instead, try sitting with it, not as an enemy, but as something to understand. Right now, you might feel restless when you're alone because your mind fills the silence with noise. It replays old conversations, brings up regrets, and throws endless worries at you. It's like a radio that won't turn off. But here's something most people don't realize. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. Try this simple exercise. Sit in a quiet place and close your eyes. Let thoughts come and go without reacting to them. Notice how thoughts appear on their own. You don't choose them, they just show up. Instead of believing every thought, question it. Ask yourself, is this true? Does this thought serve me? Realize that you don't have to engage with every thought. You can let them pass, like clouds in the sky. At first, this can be uncomfortable. The mind doesn't like being ignored. It wants to pull you into a spiral of overthinking. But the more you practice observing your thoughts instead of attaching to them, the more peaceful you become in your own mind. Think about it. How many times have you believed a thought that wasn't even real? How many times has your mind convinced you of something negative only for you to later realize it wasn't true? This is why making peace with your thoughts is so important. It's not about silencing your mind. It's about not letting it control you. Meditation is one of the best ways to practice this, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Even just taking 5 minutes to sit in silence and observe your thoughts can be powerful. The goal isn't to have no thoughts. It's to recognize that you are separate from them. The moment you realize that your thoughts don't define you, you stop fearing them. And when that happens, being alone stops feeling like a battle. Instead of running from your mind, you start to feel at home in it. Use solitude to build, not escape. Many people see being alone as something to end as quickly as possible. They fill the silence with distractions, mindlessly scrolling on their phones, binge-watching shows, or keeping themselves constantly busy just to avoid the discomfort of solitude. But what if you stopped using alone time as something to escape from and instead used it as a tool for growth? Solitude is a powerful opportunity, but only if you use it right. When you're alone, there's no one to impress, no expectations to meet, no noise pulling you in different directions. It's just you and your choices. What you do in those moments shapes not only your present, but your future. Instead of numbing yourself with distractions, ask, what can I create right now? What can I learn? What kind of person do I want to become? Alone time is the perfect chance to work on yourself, your goals, and your dreams. Instead of wasting hours numbing yourself, try reading something that expands your mind, not just for entertainment, but something that truly challenges your thinking. Journaling to reflect on your thoughts and emotions. Writing helps clear your mind and make sense of what you're feeling. Learning a new skill, even if it's something small. It could be a new language, an instrument, coding, or even cooking. Doing something creative, writing, drawing, making music. Creativity isn't just for artists. It's for anyone who wants to express themselves. Moving your body, exercise, stretching, going for a walk. Physical movement changes your mental state more than you think. Most people waste their alone time and then wonder why nothing in their life is changing. They say they want to grow, but every time they're alone, they reach for their phone instead of reaching for something meaningful. Try this. The next time you're alone, commit to spending just 30 minutes doing something that makes you better. Whether it's learning, creating, or just reflecting, those 30 minutes will do more for your life than hours of mindless scrolling. When you shift from escaping solitude to using it, being alone stops feeling like a punishment. It becomes a gift. The truth is, being alone isn't the problem. It's how you see it that makes all the difference. Most people fear solitude because they don't know how to enjoy their own company. But once you shift your mindset, once you stop seeing it as isolation and start using it as time to reconnect with yourself, everything changes. You don't need to fill every moment with noise. You don't need to constantly distract yourself just to avoid feeling alone. You have everything you need within you to be at peace in your own presence. If you take just one thing from this, let it be this. Solitude is not emptiness. It's space. Space for you to think, to grow, to breathe, to reset. Space to work on yourself, to discover new things, to find out what actually makes you happy. Most people spend their whole lives avoiding themselves. They jump from one distraction to another, from one person to the next, always running, always filling the silence. But you don't have to live that way. You can choose to slow down, to be still, to be okay with yourself. And if that feels impossible right now, that's okay. Start small. Spend just 5 minutes in silence. Sit with your thoughts instead of running from them. Do one thing just for yourself today, without guilt, without distraction. Because the more you learn to be with yourself, the more you realize you were never truly alone to begin with. Let me know in the comments, what's one thing you enjoy doing when you're alone? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if this video helped, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.